What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Phil from Walmart. I got my white shirt on today instead of the blue shirt that I had on yesterday. Just checking in. I did a full day today. Started up at 6:40 in the morning. Drove to McCarran. McCarran sent me with one load straight to Ceres, California. C-E-R-E-S, California. And it was a full load, 28 pallets, and the store had to unload it all. After that, basically just come back to SAC, call it a day. Today was supposed to be my go home day. As I said in a previous video yesterday that I posted, that I was trying to do something a little bit different this week, and I conserved my hours so that I can extend over on Saturday. So I'll be sleeping tonight in my rig and then getting up in the morning, transferring my belongings from this rig to my pickup truck. My pickup truck is parked right next door to me. Luckily there was a spot open and I can back in right next to my truck. I could do it tonight, that way I don't have to do it in the morning, but I have time in the morning to do it before starting up. And before the other driver, he's supposed to start up at 9, so he'll probably get here around 8 and start loading up, so I just got to get out of here before that. I took it by Blue Beacon, got it washed up for my co-driver, and unfortunately we don't fuel here in Sacramento, so I feel kind of guilty sometimes not leaving it with a full tank. But I fill up every time I go into McCarran or Red Bluff or any DC that has fuel, so that way I don't have to, I know I have enough fuel to get back to one of those DCs at least, and so does he. So he'll probably end up grabbing an empty trailer, maybe go to a vendor, pick up a load, then head down to McCarran. He's got plenty of fuel to do that, so I'm not too worried about that. I keep it pretty clean for them, so if the only thing that they can bitch about is it not having enough fuel or a full tank, tell them put some fuel pumps in here and it'll be fully fueled for them when they come in. Other than that, I don't bitch about it either, because I know if it's not full, it's because of that. The day cabs, they don't get fueled here either. We get the COM data fleet card and have to go fuel them. I could do that here with this tractor as well before coming home, but like I said, I stopped by Blue Beacon. That took 45 to an hour just to do that of my time. Otherwise I could have been off the clock a little bit earlier tonight. But kind of going back to what I was talking about last night, and then a lot of my observations today out on the road. I'm calling this get centered, stay centered, get centered, and stay centered. And this is for big rig drivers as well as anybody that drives a vehicle out on the roads. And when I mean get centered, stay centered, get centered in the center of your lane and stay there. There's too many times that vehicles are drifting back and forth in their lane. For us as a big rigger, staying centered is more of a challenge than it looks like. You might be driving your four-wheeler right behind a semi-tractor trailer and they're just staying centered straight in the lane. That driver is paying attention. That driver is both hands on the steering wheel. They're not reaching for something. They're not distracted. Because keeping it centered in your lane is difficult, because you have curves, you have bumps in the road, you have other vehicles, stuff like that, debris that you might have to go over, and staying centered is not that easy. When I used to teach them to look and aim high in steering. So look further down, 8 to 12 seconds ahead of your vehicle. Don't look down close to your vehicle. Look further out and look and That'll help you stay centered. Pick an imaginary target and then drive towards that imaginary target that's in the center of your lane, so that way you're staying centered. The other thing is, if you're not checking your mirrors, so we're required to check our mirrors, you know, ideally every 5 to 8 seconds. You want to check a mirror, and what you're looking for in that mirror are 3 things. You're looking for lane position, you're looking for traffic conditions, and you're looking for mechanical problems with your unit. Is there smoke coming off? Is there tires shredding and you can see the tires falling apart back there? Or is traffic coming up and are they going to pass you right in front of you to get off the off-ramp? Is your trailer and your whole unit staying centered in the lane? And that will take you from looking forward, checking your left mirror, looking forward again, check your right mirror, and you should see about equal distance on both sides of the in the mirrors. So equal distance, and it's usually about a foot and a half or so, what appears to be a foot and a half on either side of your vehicle. Now, if you're closer to the line on the driver's side, that means you have lots of room on your passenger side. You'll see a lot of truck drivers like to ride the fog line on the right side or the curb side, and they stay there. The problem with that, in not staying centered, yes, they're staying away from all the other traffic and everything else. But what if another vehicle veers into his lane? He has nowhere to go. So we've also used to talk about, and this is what I practice, and maybe it'll help somebody else when they're learning or thinking about how they drive, is staying centered gives you some wiggle room either direction. So if a vehicle does merge over into your lane just a little bit, you have that space to safely move out of the way. But if you're already riding that fog line, that white line on the side, on the passenger side, curb side, you have nowhere to go. Some highways, you might have 6 inches, and if you have 6 inches, your tires are already going in. And once they get off that asphalt, you'll feel the whole unit want to pull down into that asphalt or that dirt or that gravel or whatever else, and it'll pull you all the way down. We had students when I was training them, and they were re-asphalting the highways. I talked to him about that before we went on our road, and unfortunately he got too close to the side and felt what I was talking about. Scared the heck out of him. Luckily for us, he was able to, he was holding on both hands, and he was able to keep it steady. And then I was able to coach him back once we got all the tires on the passenger side off of that groove, then to bring it back nice and gently, not jerking it back, but just bring it back nice and gently back to it after reducing some speed. So you really need to watch what you're doing, stay centered, get centered, stay centered. The other thing this is going to help you do is, we don't always ride in that right lane, right? This is right lane trucking, but there's highways that you're going to have to be in the center lane, or you're going to have a lane on your right and a lane on your left, and you're going to be in the middle. Now, if you're always having a tendency to ride the white line, the fog line on the right side of the road, once you get in that center lane, it's going to be harder for you to keep centered. So you really need to practice getting centered, staying centered. Now, for the four-wheelers out there, you guys are distracted, not paying attention, too many conversations going on, everything else, and you're not staying focused on what you're doing. And too often, you're swerving over. If you're swerving over towards another vehicle, a small four-wheeler, they can adjust a lot easier than a semi-tractor trailer. You adjust into us, or you merge into us, we can't just make a sudden movement. We have to make gentle movements. If we make a sudden movement, the whole trailer, everything gets shifted, and we start wiggling around a lot. And that's not safe for us. So keep everything in close proximity when you're driving down the road. Keep your phone away from you, obviously. Don't be using your phone while you're driving, but know where your controls are. If you need to turn on the AC, you should already know where that knob is. If you're trying to turn up or turn down the radio, you should know where that knob is. You should be able to blindly look at it, looking at the road in front of you, keeping your eyes straight ahead at that road in front of you, and reach out with your hand. Reach out with your hand and without looking at it, and be able to get what you want. That cup of coffee you want to take a sip of. You look down to pick it up out of the cup holder, you're swerving into the other lane. You're reaching down to hit a button to turn on a light, you're swerving because you're not looking at the road anymore. So you really need to avoid all those distractions. You should be able to carry out all your normal functions inside the cab without having to take your eyes off the road. Now, could it be a quick glance? Sure. Yeah, it could be a quick glance. Just no different than checking a mirror, right? But if you're having to stare at it to look at it, then that's going to be the problem. And you're going to find yourself merging all over the place. But that's what I want to talk about today. Getting centered, stay in your lane, and we'll all be safe out there. For Right Lane Trucking, this is Phil from Walmart. Let's all be safe. Thank you. Good night.